Hi, and welcome to week 3 of your English class. This week, we are going to focus on a problem solution essay, and this is going to be a two-part series for weeks 3 and week 4. This week, we do the part 1, which breaks down the problem of your essay, and then next week in week 4, you write the second half of this paper where you focus entirely on the solution of your problem. So before we move on, let's talk about week 2. If there's anything I need to do to help you, please don't hesitate to contact me regarding last week's assignments on your position papers. If you have questions regarding the assignments, the grades that you got, or anything relative to last week, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. So this week we have part 1 of a paper. Looking ahead next week, week 4, you'll have part 2 to this same topic. And then that finishes our halfway point of the class. And week 5, we'll move on to beginning the baby steps of our research paper. So we're going to talk about our problem solution essay, and this week's theme is speculating about a cause. Before we get too much further into that, I want you to think about methods of persuasion. And according to Edlund, there are 3 ways to persuade someone. And that could be in writing, in speaking, any method of discourse. And these ways are called ethos, pathos, and logos. And these originate from Aristotle, who's a famous Greek philosopher. And he has a premise of ethics, where ethos comes from the word ethics. Our image, how credible we are. It's how you appear as a writer, as a speaker to your audience. Do you project credibility, good moral character? Are you believable? Okay. You want to, in your writing, or even if you were giving a speech, you want to be a credible source. You want to present yourself in a way that you know what you're talking about and you're trustworthy. And this is created by your word choice, your writing style, your speaking style. Okay. Sometimes it can backfire on people. Sometimes when writing an essay, young people might tend to go to a thesaurus, use some really complicated words, but use them inappropriately, and then therefore that could backfire on their ethos, their credibility, because they don't know what they don't sound like they know what they're talking about. Okay, so you want to make sure that your word choice is appropriate for your audience and for your style of what it is you're trying to communicate. Your ethos can really come in, your credibility can come into play when you're trying to address your audience and your counter arguments in this type of writing that we're doing. You know, what kind of image do you want to project in your writing? You don't want to come off as harsh or judgmental or condescending in critiquing the other counter arguments of whatever issue you're proposing. You want to sound educated and you want to validate the other side, but yet you still want to sound like your side is better. Sometimes in writing, if we have frequent errors in grammar and spelling, this also can affect the image of the writer, the image that you're trying to portray. Perhaps the image could come off as lazy or careless or illiterate. Logos is the second of the 3 methods of persuasion. Logos has to do with making logical arguments. Okay, logos comes from the word logic. And so you want to be logical and rational in your writing and in your speaking. And logic is valued even more so than emotions. Okay, emotions come into play, but you can be as emotional as you want about a cause, but if you don't know what you're talking about, then it's not going to matter. Many people like to use rhetorical arguments. They ask questions, like fire off a series of questions, or make statements that make sense logically. You want to provide facts, data, statistics. Okay, this is going to provide credibility, but also in a logical order. Similarly, if you can expose loopholes propose doubt in someone else's argument, conversely, it's an effective way to make yourself more credible in your writing and in your speaking. So think about a time when you were trying to use logic to try to persuade someone of something. Perhaps think of what did you do, what did you say, how did you say it, And was it an effective strategy? And the third in these three modes of discourse is pathos. And pathos has to do with emotions of the audience. So Aristotle believes that we make decisions based upon emotion more so than based on rational thought. Hence, advertisements that we see are often directed to evoke emotion. For example, on the television, when those animal shelter commercials come on, those long commercials, and there's the dramatic music and there's the pictures of these poor dogs that are malnourished, and that's definitely a play on our emotions. Politics as well. Notice during various election seasons, there can be some very heated, emotional commercials that come out to try to conversely poke holes in the other side to make you want to vote for a certain party. These are common tactics, and other ways that they do is to make us feel insecure about certain things and then offer a remedy or a solution. Okay, for example, our weight. You might insecure insecure about your weight, so then you better take this product. This will solve that problem. Drink this Slim Fast shake or whatever the case is, or you'll fit in more if you take this product or buy this product or consume this product. So think about that. Think about how effective these devices are and how often they're used. Think about what comes to mind. Some of them are not very fair. They're very deceptive, but they do work. How many times have you made a decision based on an emotional reaction to something you've read or seen? Okay, so for week 3, you have one assignment due, and that is your paper, your essay, which is due on Sunday. Now, because this is a 2-part series, you are still going to be expected to do your pre-writing journal like you did for your last essay, but your journal's not going to get graded this week. So technically, it's not officially due until the end of week 4. Notice here that I have highlighted in blue. That's not to say that I don't want you to turn anything in, because it's really important for me to see your progress on your essay early on. So I would very much like you to submit several journal entries as we get started this week on your part 1 of your problem solution essay. So you have a reading assignment, you're viewing our lecture, you're going to start working on your journals and submitting, and you have a paper due by Sunday. For your pre-writing journal, you're going to have it split into 2 parts, and this is a 30-point assignment. So you'll have about 15, or I can't remember how it goes, 15 or 20 points on the first part, and then 10 or 15 points on your part 2. This week, I would like to see entries on your brainstorming where you're going to list a series of possible topics so that I can help you to narrow it down. You're going to then frame the issue, and you're going to list some possible causes. So you're brainstorming on your problems. This is a problem solution essay. Problems in society. You're going to frame how it's a problem in society and list the possible causes of this. And then you're going to do your research and list 3 sources that you've found and you're going to consider using it as supporting evidence in your research essay. You're going to do an entry on a thesis statement, and then you're going to write an outline of how you think your paper will flow. So these are the entries that I'd like to see coming in this week, even though they're not going to get graded this week. Okay? And it's also very important that you please don't submit your journal entries only on Sunday, a couple of hours before you submit your final draft. This doesn't help me with helping you. Okay? This doesn't leave me any time to reply to you, to help you with your thesis statement, to say, yes, you're on the right track, or no, maybe you want to think about this alternate idea. So please submit early and submit often in your journals, not just on Sunday. All right, so here's our prompt that we're going to focus on this week. This is your problem solution essay where you're going to speculate about a cause. This is a 2-part essay, and this week you're going to research the causes of a problem, and then next week you'll propose that solution to your problem. Okay, this is going to be part 1 all by itself, and then next week you include part 1 again, but you've already written it and turned it in and graded it, you're just adding it, and then you're going to add on part 2. So this week's paper is going to be 3 pages in length. And you want to convince your reader that there's a problem, okay? That in fact a problem does exist. So you need to set the stage of what is this problem. Is it a problem that's global? Is it national? Is it local? Okay? Is it a one-time single occurrence of a problem, or is it a trend that happens over and over during a period of time? You want to describe in detail the problem, establish that it is a problem, but don't let that dominate the entire paper, because you do need to, after you set the scene of this is the problem, you need to allow yourself plenty of time to go over the causes of the problem, okay? If you had to split it for the 3 pages, I'd say 1 page is problem, addressing the problem, 2 pages going over the causes of the problem, okay? Are there multiple causes to this problem? Perhaps it's a one-time phenomenon. Depends on what you're talking about. This 100-point paper is going to be, I'm going to show you the rubric, of course, but it's broken down into the features of a well-presented subject or problem, how well you address the causes and research and support the causes of this problem, and then address any counter arguments. You know, maybe there's going to be the opposing side that says, well, no, that's not a cause of the problem. What might you say to them to respond, and how well your paper is organized? As usual, basic MLA or APA format, 3 pages, typed double-spaced, at least 3 scholarly sources in full MLA or APA order. Your works cited page, of course, doesn't count as the 3 pages of your essay. So, framing your essay, you need to choose a problem that doesn't have one single cause, unless it's one really big one that you could write about. Other than that, you need to be going over the series of causes, and that's going to make up the bulk of this essay. Okay? 1 or more causes that are the possible culprit for this issue in society, and that will become your body. And then your reasons or evidence to support your possible causes follow your body paragraphs. How well you present your subject is addressing to the reader in your introduction that this indeed is a problem. Get the reader's attention right away. Oh my gosh, this is a problem that needs to be addressed now. Frame it so that we are interested, and your thesis statement is probably going to be the last sentence in that intro paragraph, leading off with the final thesis of this is the problem that must be dealt with. Your counter arguments, again, you have to figure out what someone's going to disagree with. Don't write about something that there's no disagreement, okay? You want to write about something that's going to be refuted. Here's your rubric, and it very much follows the model of last week's paper. Well-presented problem, clear thesis statement. Again, the meat and potatoes of your paper is your evidence and research to support the causes. How well you address the counter-argument. This is a little higher in your grade. This is 15%. How well do you respond to those people who might disagree with you? Your plan is how your paper's organized. Does it flow? A clear beginning, middle, and end with transition words throughout, and then your grammar and your citation, the last 10%. I've given you a sample here. Just to break it down, and this is just one random sample. I was thinking about it after a rough day at work one day. Okay, so my subject would be electronic cigarettes or hookah pens or anything that's popular yet dangerous to teens. That's my topic. My thesis statement I've come up with. The harmful effects of smoking are well known, and the use of cigarettes has continued to decline. However, the newly popular smokeless cigarettes, known as e-cigs and hookah pens, are becoming a new and potentially dangerous phenomenon among teens. There's my statement. I've set the scene, and I've made a statement to refute that smoking's down, but this problem is up. Causes I've come up with that the use of these things are on the rise. They're easier to purchase, they're odorless, so they're easier to use, and people think that there's less nicotine, so they're not so harmful to your health. I then had to come up with, okay, well, if someone's going to disagree with each of these statements, what might they say?